A Fox News alert, President Trump gathering his National Security Council at the White House today as he doubles down on his campaign promise, making the world a safer place after the epic takedown of Iran's major nuclear sites. White House Press Secretary Karoline Leavitt joins us now. Karoline, I know the president seems very pleased by the results so far. What do we know about the effectiveness of the attack that's been relayed to you?
The president is pleased, the country is pleased, and frankly, Brian, the whole world should be pleased with the courageous action that President Trump and our United States military took on Saturday night. I want to thank, and the president wants to thank, the brave pilots who flew nearly 40 hours and more than 7,000 miles from the middle of America to the Middle East to conduct this highly successful and complex precision strikes on Iran's nuclear facilities. This is an operation that presidents of the past have dreamed about, but no president had the guts to actually do it. But President Trump did, to take away this imminent threat, not just to the state of Israel, but to the United States and the rest of the world. So the country is a safer place today because of the president's bold action, and he has prevented a nuclear conflict. He has prevented a rogue radical regime from obtaining a nuclear bomb and threatening our people.
So I know the president's very decisive, but he also likes listening to all angles. And he's used to Democrats fighting against him. How much harder was the decision when you have people like Steve Bannon coming over for lunch saying don't do it, Marjorie Taylor Greene saying don't do it, and other voices like that? How did the president digest all that, knowing these people weren't necessarily against him, they're against pending action he more than likely was going to take?
One of the great things that makes President Trump a great leader is his ability to listen to people with different perspectives, but then ultimately make a decision based on his own instinct and the intelligence that he saw. And he saw, based on U.S. intelligence, that Iran is just weeks away from obtaining a nuclear weapon. And President Trump has been saying his entire life, not just as a presidential candidate or as president of the United States twice, but also as a private citizen, that Iran cannot obtain a nuclear weapon. And that's something that leaders around this world and on both sides of the political aisle agree with. Again, presidents dating back to Democrat Bill Clinton have said that Iran cannot obtain a nuclear weapon, but none of them had the courage to actually do something about it, and President Trump did. And nobody knows what it means to accomplish peace through strength better than President Trump. He is the one who came up with that motto and that foreign policy doctrine, and he successfully implemented it in his first term. And this is one of many steps he is taking to successfully implement peace in his second term. The president wants to see a peaceful and prosperous Middle East. He talked about that extensively when we took that historic trip to Saudi Arabia, and he talked about how the Iranian terrorist regime was bringing down the rest of the region, and our Gulf partners and allies agree with that sentiment. So the president wants peace. Sometimes you have to use strength to achieve it, and he's not afraid to use strength. And as Saturday night proved, the United States has the best and most lethal fighting force in the history of the world, and we can use it if we must.
So the president tweeted out the next day, and I agree with you, by the way, and I think most everyone watching does, says it's not politically correct to use the term regime change, but if the current Iranian regime is unable to make Iran great again, why wouldn't there be a regime change? Does he think we should do that? Is he asking the Iranian people to do that? What's he saying there?
The president believes the Iranian people can control their own destiny. And what he said last night makes complete sense. If the Iranian regime refuses to come to a peaceful diplomatic solution, which the president is still interested in engaging in, by the way, why shouldn't the Iranian people take away the power of this incredibly violent regime that has been suppressing them for decades? And so our posture has not changed. Our military posture has not changed. These were decisive precision strikes that were successful on Saturday evening. But the president is just simply raising a good question that many people around the world are asking.
So let's go to the border, if we can, and how that relates to the reprisals that Iran promises. One of the things they said was, you know, Donald Trump, gambler Donald Trump can start a war, we'll finish it.